There's a kind of darkness that doesn't show itself in monsters or demons, but in the quiet smiles of people who walk beside us. Evil doesn't always arrive with a roar. Sometimes it whispers. It hides behind charm, intelligence, even kindness. In our world, the most dangerous people aren't always the ones who break laws, but those who break spirits. They drain your peace, distort your sense of right and wrong, and leave you questioning yourself. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." But what happens when someone's thoughts are poisoned? What happens when that poison drips slowly into your life, disguised as friendship, love, or loyalty? Today, we'll uncover 5 signs you're dealing with an evil person. These aren't about superstition or religion. They're about psychology, behavior, and ancient wisdom. And once you learn to recognize them, you'll never look at human nature the same way again. Because evil rarely announces itself. It walks softly, dressed as normalcy. And only those who are awake can see it coming. An evil person doesn't attack head-on. They study you. They watch how you react, what makes you feel safe, what breaks your heart. And then they use it. Their power lies in deception. They twist your emotions, making you feel guilty for things you never did. They make you believe that you owe them, when in truth, they've taken more than they ever gave. Seneca once said, "He who does wrong to himself." But manipulators don't see it that way. They believe control equals strength. They hide behind politeness, behind laughter, behind their so-called good intentions. At first, they seem warm, generous even. But slowly, their kindness becomes a cage. Their generosity, a leash. You begin to question your instincts. You wonder if you're overreacting. And that's exactly how they win. When someone's kindness feels conditional. When their support comes with invisible chains. You are no longer dealing with goodness. You're standing face to face with manipulation, one of evil's favorite masks. Empathy is the heartbeat of humanity. It's what allows us to understand pain that isn't our own. But an evil person? They lack this heartbeat. They can mimic empathy, cry when it's convenient, comfort when it benefits them. But there's no real feeling behind it. Their emotions are performances. Every gesture calculated. Every word rehearsed. They'll watch someone suffer and remain unmoved. They might even enjoy it. Because deep down, they see others not as people, but as tools. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters." But how do you react to someone who feels nothing? You distance yourself. Because proximity to the heartless turns you cold too. You start adjusting your emotions. Hiding joy, softening pain. Because around them, authenticity becomes weakness. And that's how they win again. By making the world colder through their indifference. If someone consistently lacks compassion, if their eyes stay dry when yours are full of tears, that is not a soul in pain, it's a soul lost to the void. Evil thrives in confusion. When your world feels unstable, when your thoughts are scattered, they grow stronger. These people create chaos not by accident, but by design. They start arguments out of nowhere. They pit people against each other. They twist your words until you question your sanity. To them, confusion is control. When you're off balance, you're easier to influence. They want you chasing explanations instead of peace. They want you drained, distracted, and doubting yourself. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." And that's your greatest defense. Because when you refuse to react to their chaos, you take away their weapon. So the next time someone thrives in drama, ask yourself, who benefits from this confusion? Who gains power when peace disappears? If the answer is clear, then you've seen the storm for what it is. A tool, not a coincidence. And evil always loves its tools. Eventually, even the best mask cracks. Evil people cannot pretend forever. Their mask slips in small moments. A harsh look, a cruel joke, a sudden rage when control is lost. Sign 4 is their joy in others' pain. They don't just ignore suffering, they feed off it. They feel powerful watching others fall. It's not just indifference. its satisfaction. Sign 5 is their inability to love selflessly. They use love as currency, something to trade, not something to give. They will claim they love you, but that love disappears when you no longer serve them. A Stoic understands that love must be free of possession. As Epictetus said, when you kiss your child, remind yourself that you kiss a mortal. Love without control is divine. Love that demands ownership is corruption. Evil doesn't always look like cruelty. Sometimes it looks like a smile that hides a knife. It looks like affection with an agenda. So be vigilant, but not paranoid. Be compassionate, but not blind. And above all, guard your peace. Because once an evil person can't touch your calm, they've already lost their power.